Hi all, I noticed a Google Doodle today for the Asian Games and I wondered if chess was in it in this 2018 edition. Unfortunately it isn't, but chess was in it 8 years ago in 2010, funny enough, and also in 2006. Here's a game from 2010 anyway, and let's see if maybe in future editions they can include chess. It seems they've included bridge, so a little bit sad, but let's see this game from the 2010 16th Asian Games Rapid between Rustam Kasimdzhanov and Surya Shekhar Ganguly. So this game in the men's rapid, let's see this game. C4 from Kasimdzhanov, knight f6 from Ganguly. We have the English opening, and this looks like the classic wet lettuce system where white plays d3 with an expansion plan on the queen side. Later rook b1, b4, b5, c6, rook b1, a5, trying to put the brakes on, a3, or at least open up the rook on a8 if b4 is going to be played. Rook e8, bishop g5. White is not too concerned about giving up the dark square bishop here. Sometimes this does create more pressure on light squares, but white's got to be wary of e4 when this happens. Knight d2, bishop g7, queen c2, bishop e6. We have b4, so getting some space on the queen side. A takes, knight d7, b5, queen c7, rook b2. So white is perhaps doubling rooks in bc here. Rook a3, rook fb1. Not worried about e4. This is a bit of a concern. It looks as though black was trying to sort of worry white. Knight c5 was played. If we look at e4, white can either try sacking the exchange, but this doesn't seem that great. Discontinuation. It seems as though black has got enough play here to be better. Yeah, like this continuation, for example. And if white took with the other knight after e4, let's have a look. Knight d takes e4. This is probably better, and sacrifice a piece on e4, or c3 instead. If black plays like this, this position is interesting. It's dynamically in balance. So anyway, this wasn't tempted. So we just have knight c5. Knight d4, black took on e4, now f5. Now very interesting from Kasimdzhanov here. What does black want to do here? What does white want to do rather? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, what do you think was played here? Okay, b takes c6. Now one point is, if taking, then there's knight f6 check, winning the queen. So this is a piece sacrifice. On knight d2 instead, then yeah, e4. That is black's trump card, that dark square bishop. This position might actually be okay though. Okay, but here, yeah, it's sacrificed here. This knight, f takes e4. We have c takes threatening, b8 queening. There's an insertion of e takes hitting white's queen, not worried about that. And white takes the time out to take on d3 here. We have now rook b8 stopping that pawn, bishop e4. So very interesting. White is a bishop down, but with a very dangerous b7 pawn. Pressure on the light squares over here. Black reacts energetically with bishop h3, ignoring the g6 pawn. Interesting is bishop f5, but maybe white plays queen e2. This continuation seems as though it should be enough for white to actually draw. There's enough pawns there. The bishop's not that active. There might be perpetual check possibilities. Dynamically in balance, it seems. So that pawn is not that tempting here. We see queen e2, and now king h8, again offering g6. So what happens this time round? Rook b5 was played. On bishop takes g6 here, d5 seems energetic. For example, c takes, rook takes b7, rook takes, queen takes b7, because the bishop is forming a mating net in some of the lines. If white's best is to protect the rook, then this is okay for black, small edge, and if white takes, then that loses to check and then mating, or after rook b1 mating. So let's have a look at this position. So that pawn is just too dangerous to take, so we have rook b5, queen f7, rook b6, queen c7, queen b2 hitting the rook, rook goes back. If rook, there might have been rook takes d3 here actually. This actually is very interesting for black to consider. If, I mean, c5 might be the best, and after this, that's dynamically balanced. And if bishop takes, then again this dark square bishop is used with e4, hitting the queen. This position, for example, and there's another skewer here on the way, will be better for black. So, okay, rook a7 was played, queen b5, rook a2, queen b3, and now perhaps black is a little bit concerned that if going back there might be here bishop takes g6. This position, it might actually be plausible to do this. For example, e4 taking bishop d4, rook b5, queen f7, queen c2. This should be okay for white. So anyway, black played a speculative, interesting move here. Rook takes f2, trying to draw the king out. The king takes, check, king e2. Now bishop g4 check. Now an immediate issue is if king e1, then white gets mated, check, bishop h3, rook f8 is checkmate. So this is very, very scary. We have king d2, and now check, king c3, check, king c2, check, king c3, carrying on as though there's a repetition, but now white changes with king c1, h5 threatening bishop h6 checkmate. Very scary. White is walking the tightrope. It seems here. Rook a1, check, king b1 using that square created by rook a1, check, 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 queen e3, rook b5 is now used, check, check, bishop e3 for bishop d4, looks very scary, but rook a8 now, and finally this pawn shows great promise, but white's king is not left alone for a bit. Check, queen f8 protecting b8, and also maybe d5 is on the way. Here, if bishop c5 check, then white could sack the exchange and play queen b4. This position is actually very nice for white winning. So white's out of the woods a little bit here. White takes on b8, and now rook a5 threatening rook a8, big threat. Bishop a7, queen c1. Now there's a big idea of queen h6 as well as hitting the bishop. And in fact, this would be fatal to allow queen h6. This double attack seems lethal. Black plays king g7, parrying queen h6. White takes on d1. Yeah, this is now just winning for white. This is desperate, queen c7. Last chance for some sort of perpetual. But white's a bishop up here. The king is just making his way into safety. And this is the final position. White's as safe as houses now. Yeah, an interesting, exciting game. I was interested to see if chess was in this year's, but unfortunately it's not. But at least we can look back to 2010 and maybe plead with the organisers somehow. If you want chess in the next edition, maybe we can somehow plead with the organisers to be included, because bridge is, they say bridge, which is included, is like the card version of chess. So I'm wondering, I'm hoping next time, in 4 years' time, they could reconsider chess. Okay. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks so much.